Welcome back. It is 6:39. This week it seemed like we dealt with natural disaster after natural disaster. But don't worry, we've got some serious headlines to cover, plus some sports. Yes, I'm going to try and talk sports with you during this top 4 countdown. And to give you a sense of how athletic I am, I played roller hockey and volleyball in high school for one day. But we'll try and get through it. Your top 4 and 4 countdown starts right now. Let's get to headline number 4. West Indian communities around the United States are stepping up to get help for the islands of the Caribbean ravaged by the winds and waters of Hurricane Irma. Even those in places in the southern U.S. that were hit hard themselves. They're using parties where the price of admission is a donation, fundraising drives, and online wish lists for collecting needed supplies. The storm wreaked havoc in parts of the region, including Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla and St. Martin, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and parts of Cuba. It left more than 36 people dead and turned some islands more commonly thought of as vacation paradises into devastated landscapes, facing the needs and costs of extensive rebuilding. Well, here's headline number 3, another devastating natural disaster. Survivors are still being pulled from the rubble in Mexico City as rescue operations stretch into a 4th day. Desperate relatives gathered at the sites of buildings collapsed by a magnitude 7.1 earthquake. Police say several people were pulled from the rubble of 2 buildings in Mexico's capital Thursday. Still, with the hours passing, fewer of the living were found, and the official death toll rose above 280 in Mexico City. It turns out the heart-wrenching drama of a young girl trapped in the rubble of a school brought down by the quake was all for naught. Residents, rescuers, and reporters rushed to the rubble, and viewers were transfixed by live coverage. Now officials say the girl never existed and cite zealous but mistaken volunteers who made a rescue effort fueled by hope and adrenaline. Well, we gotta talk politics. Here's headline number 2. President Donald Trump has added economic action to his fiery military threats against North Korea, authorizing stiffer new sanctions in response to the Koreans' nuclear weapons advances. Its leader, Kim Jong-un, issued a rare statement branding Trump as, quote, deranged and warning he will pay dearly his threat to totally destroy the North if it attacks. Now, North Korea has marched closer to achieving a nuclear-tipped missile that could strike the U.S. The crisis dominated Trump's debut at this week's annual UN General Assembly meeting. Trump issued the warning of potential obliteration and mocked the North's young autocrat as, quote, rocket man on a suicide mission. North Korea conducted its 6th nuclear test this month. Here it is, headline number 1. Let's talk sports, shall we? Woo, you okay, Jacob? He caught it. He caught it. All right. But let's not talk sports, but more so sports television. In recent months, ESPN has come under fire from liberals and conservatives. But most recently, conservatives have been claiming that viewers are turning away from the channel due to its coverage of social issues and its liberal bias. But most recently, ESPN host Jamil Hill's controversial comments about President Trump sparked a conservative backlash. ESPN subscribers and revenue are, in fact, in decline. But this trend started 6 years ago, well before any of the incidents those who blame politics cite. ESPN had 94.4 million subscribers in 2015 who paid an estimated average of $6.61 per month, that according to CBS News, multiplied by 12 months, that produced yearly subscriber revenue of more than $7.48 billion. The crisis at ESPN developed because of the lack of competition. ESPN's monthly fee grew so high because cable providers had no choice but to pay for it. There was no alternative channel that also provided these games. Subscribers had no way to vent frustration because ESPN prevented cable systems from offering the channel on a separate sports tier. You also have to take into account the way people watch TV is just changing. Cable channels now reach fewer homes. Some homes have canceled their cable service entirely. Others have moved to more affordable, somewhat more customizable packages called skinny bundles that offer fewer channels but more choice. So there we have it. Natural disasters, devastation, politics, and a little sports talk for you. Now that's what I call a countdown. My version of Play of the Week. Be sure to join me next week, though. I'll be counting down a new list of interesting headlines that everyone is talking about. We'll be right back after this.